This World Cup was supposed to be a monument to football, a celebration so massive it would redefine the sport for a generation. Instead, a darker question is stalking the tournament from the very first whistle. What if the greatest threat to Spain, Argentina, and Brazil is not the team standing across from them, but the tournament itself? What if the road to glory has been designed to drain, disorient, and break the very stars meant to illuminate it? Stay with us, because beneath the banners, beneath the promises, beneath the spectacle, something is starting to look dangerously, unmistakably wrong. On paper, the 2026 World Cup looks unstoppable. 3 host countries, 48 teams, packed stadiums, global audiences, and a month of football stretched into a spectacle unlike anything FIFA has ever sold before. But by the end of this video, you will understand exactly why some of the biggest contenders believe the event has expanded beyond reason, beyond balance, maybe even beyond control. And if you care about what really decides championships, subscribe and turn on notifications now, because what comes next is not just about tactics or talent. It is about survival, pure survival. Survival in plain sight today. Here is the contradiction at the heart of it all. FIFA says the tournament is bigger, safer, smarter, and better prepared than ever. The players living inside it see something else entirely. Heavier legs, thinner margins, longer journeys, hotter afternoons, and bodies being asked for more while recovering with less. The World Cup is meant to reveal the strongest team on earth, but what happens when the format starts testing endurance more than brilliance? What happens when climate, calendar, and commerce begin shaping results as much as coaching, courage, and skill? That is the tension. That is the story here. Start with the structure. 48 teams do not simply mean more flags, more anthems, more shots. They mean more logistics, more moving parts, more variables, and for the teams who expect to reach the end, more strain. To lift the trophy now, a champion must navigate an extra match, one more night of impact, one more 90-minute burden, one more chance for a hamstring to tighten, an ankle to roll, a mind to fade. One match does not sound like much until you remember how finals are won. By inches, by moments, by whoever still has something left. Then there is geography, vast and relentless. This is not one host nation wrapped around one rhythm, one climate, one web of connections. This is a tri-nation sprawl, a tournament stretched across borders, time zones, training bases, airports, highways, and recovery schedules that can unravel in a single delay. Spain, Argentina, and Brazil are not just preparing for opponents. They are preparing for movement itself, for the invisible tax of relocation. Sleep changes, routines fracture, muscles stiffen on planes and buses, focus gets thinner. Pull back further and the picture grows darker. The field is part of the battlefield. And over all of it hangs the weather, not as background, but as a force. Extreme heat, humidity, mandatory hydration breaks that interrupt tempo and remind everyone that nature is now sharing authority with the managers. FIFA insists these measures are responsible, necessary, protective. Players hear a different message. Conditions serious enough to require stoppages, yet somehow still acceptable for elite competition at intensity. Think about that for a moment. The danger is acknowledged, but the schedule remains. The warning is clear, but the burden remains. The heat remains, the humidity remains, and the minutes have to be played anyway. And this crisis did not begin at kickoff. It began long before the ceremony, buried inside an overcrowded football calendar that keeps demanding more tournaments, more club matches, more travel, more obligations, more everything. By the time stars arrive at a World Cup now, they are not entering a test of greatness. They are dragging months of accumulated stress behind them. Fatigue before the first match, injuries before the first sprint, mental wear before the first anthem. So when coaches complain, they are not asking for comfort. They are asking how much more the game expects one body to absorb. That is why the pushback from Spain, Argentina, and Brazil matters so much. These are not outsiders searching for excuses. These are giants of the sport, nations built on expectation, pressure, and tournament memory. When programs like these start questioning the conditions around the competition, the issue stops sounding like noise and starts sounding like evidence. And one complaint keeps surfacing beneath all the others: the sense that a one-size-fits-all model is being imposed on different realities. Different cities, different climates, different recovery windows, demands, all treated as though they create the risk and the same answer. Inside that tension are the human stories people forget when they talk about expansion like it is a success. A midfielder waking with heavy legs after a flight, a defender managing cramps in thick air, A forward measuring every sprint because one pull, one twist, one burst could end a tournament 4 years in the making. These are not concerns. These are decisions made in time by players carrying countries on their backs. Every hydration break can cool a pulse, yes, but it can also fracture momentum, reset pressure, disrupt rhythm, and turn matches into survival puzzles instead of football. But that is just the beginning, because once you accept that the environment is part of the contest, another question appears. Who benefits from chaos, and who suffers when certainty disappears? Before we go deeper, if this is the kind of coverage you have been looking for, subscribe and turn on notifications, because the layer changes everything. Tournament football has been cruel, but this version feels designed to magnify cruelty. A bounce used to hurt. Now that same bounce, combined with fatigue, travel, heat, and one match, can become catastrophic. One setback becomes two becomes three. Then control vanishes. And here is where it changes completely. The teams expected to dominate are not necessarily the teams most protected from this volatility. In some ways, the favorites are exposed most because they are the ones expected to play the maximum number of matches under maximum scrutiny. Spain wants control. Argentina wants rhythm. Brazil wants freedom. But harsh conditions punish control, break rhythm, and tax freedom. They compress space, slow thought, shorten legs, and make beauty difficult to sustain. The longer the tournament goes, the less it may reward football. The longer it goes, the more it rewards survival at all. And yet the message remains polished. The tournament is historic. The expansion is inclusive. The precautions prove responsibility. The spectacle proves success. But history can be messy. Inclusion can become overload. Precautions can expose danger, and spectacle can distract from strain. That is the deeper meaning here. The debate is no longer about who deserves the trophy. It's about what kind of tournament football is becoming when scale is celebrated more than sustainability. Bigger is not automatically better. Bigger is not automatically safer. Bigger is not automatically fairer.